What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about how to improve your curl and comeback break. So we're going to be talking about this 45-degree angle break, what you guys can do to get into this break faster, how you guys can eliminate time spent at the top of the route, and how you can create more energy at the top of the route, okay? And guys, if you're a receiver and you want to get better at catching the ball, you want to improve your hands, check out the link in the description that says improve your hands in 30 days. It's a full 30-day plan where we give you grip strength exercises, hand-eye coordination drills specifically tailored to improve your hands. Hope to get you guys on that soon. Again, check out that link in the description that says improve your hands in 30 days. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to be talking about here is you guys have probably seen this clip, but not with this commentary on it. We're going to be talking about Diggs running this curl right here, okay? And the main thing I want to focus on is just his trigger step and how that's very important for you guys to run a curl and a comeback route, okay? So let's watch this thing full speed. You see how he's here? Does not change his speed, and he snaps it down, right? So we're going to talk about steps as well. Well, in the next clip, we're going to talk about steps, but here, and again, it's not about eliminating steps. It's about eliminating time spent, right? I want to make that clear right off the get, right? Especially when you're running these 45-degree curl breaks. Number one, I want to cut out time spent, okay? You don't want to get into the top of the route. So many people get caught up in, I got to get out in 3 steps. Some people even tell me, I could get out in 2 steps, which is not realistic. But they're so caught up in steps, and they don't realize that they're slowing themselves down before they get into it, right? The key here is to make this DB believe that we're going vertical, whether he's in man coverage running hip to hip with me and I just snap it off, or whether he's in zone or off man and I got to close this gap with him, attack his weak hip, whatever. The goal is to make him believe it, right? Make him believe that you're running a fade. And you guys don't understand how hard it is to stop that as a DB, right? As a DB, it's so difficult when you got a guy running full speed at you, selling vertical, no indicator with his pad level, being able to snap it off, right? But at the top of the route, people like to slow down because they think, if I just get out in 3 steps, I'm going to get space. It's not the case, man. If he's able to react and he's able to see what you're doing and he's able to get you give him an indicator, which is a change in speed or a rise in pad level or a stop in your arms or your steps get choppy. He's got to jump on the ball, and you just gave him a tell, right? We don't want to give him a tell. So that's number one that I want to get that out of the way first. Now, Diggs does a great job here. If you see how he's coming off full speed, nothing changes. He hits this break in full stride, okay? When you want to improve your snap down and you want to improve your curl and comeback break, right, you got to be able to drop your hips violently. You got to be able to stay in stride. You see how he's here in his stride never changes. He drops right on his about 4th outside step, and it's in stride. It's the same stride. We got to get comfortable with breaking in that same stride. Now, I say this sparingly because not a lot of guys can do this right off the get. If you're probably not too great at this, you probably don't want to just go out there and try to do this on the first try because it's going to feel awkward. It's not going to feel like natural. You guys want to work drills to work on that trigger step, right? That's what we call this. This is called the trigger step, right? To work that trigger step because that's number one. Now, you see when Diggs here again, he snaps down, but he takes 2, 3, 4, 5 steps and he's out of this break, right? So what? He takes 5 steps if he's fast at the top of the route. Hell yeah, we'd like to get out in 3, obviously, right? And everybody can always get better, right? But at the same time, him being able to push vertical using his hips to drop and he takes 5 steps, so what? If he's out of it faster and he sells vertical longer than the other guy, he's going to get the advantage, right? So we got to make sure that we're focused on selling vertical, dropping my hips. I'm cutting out time spent at the top of the route, right? If you could be faster in 5 than a guy who takes 3 because your steps are just simply faster and you created energy at the top, that's how we get out of this thing quickly, right? So we got to make sure that that trigger step is number one that gets us into this thing, right? Because when we're running a comeback, right, we're running a curl, it's about being violent with your hips, and that's how you decelerate on a dime. When I'm running full speed, right, and I got to go, and I want to sell this thing, slowing down, bringing your chest up, getting your feet way out in front of yourself is not the way to make a break. And that's how so many people make a break because they haven't been coached. They've been coached to, beat the drum, chatter your feet, don't drop. You want to slowly drop your hips into it. Hell no. You want to drop your hips as violently as you can because that's how you decelerate on a dime. You push vertical, you use your hips to drop, decelerate right on a dime. He's here, snaps down on a dime. Full speed, keeping the same pad level, no indicator, and he uses his hips to snap him down. That's where we want to get to. Same pad level. Use your hips to drop you down, and then let's worry about steps. Let's watch it again full speed. So same speed, same pad level, in stride. Use that trigger step to make your curl, any 45-degree angle break better. Now we're going to be looking at Judy here, okay? Same deal. You guys have probably seen this clip before, but probably not with this dialogue, right? So what we're going to talk about here is how we can eliminate steps, right? So we could always work on this, right? So if you guys, what I like to do with my high school guys, and in this last clip here, we're going to take a look at one of the guys I've been working with for a little while, and he's been really working on trying to get out in 3, trying to push vertical, right? So the thing that you guys can focus on if you're trying to get out in three, like let's say you're comfortable snapping down. Let's say you're comfortable running full speed and you're dropping your hips. Always can improve, right? So how we get out the steps or how we cut out steps and how we try to get faster is this second step of this after this trigger step. So you see when Judy's here and Judy snaps, right? Same thing we were talking about with Diggs. In stride, bringing his chin to his knee. That's another thing. You want to bring your chin to your knee on that trigger step, right? But now his second step here, you see how it pivots him. Right? His pivots and his third step hooks back around and you see it's at this 45. What that serves to do is gets his hips back down on this 45-degree angle, right? So you want to make sure you're snapping. It's that trigger step, right? Running full speed, violent with my hips, no indicator, chin to my knee. Now your second step, like let's say let's say we're in Judy's position, right? Let's say we're running this comeback. Let's say we're breaking it at, like 15 back to 12, like fourth inside step is what you're going to be snapping on. He snaps on that fourth inside, which would be his left leg. Then he pivots with his right leg, and you see here he hooks back around with his left again to make sure his hips are back on that 45, and that's how we can kind of get out of it in three. You see, he gets out of this kind of like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, because that step kind of goes behind. But again, like I said, it's not about steps, it's about cutting out time spent. And Judy spends very little time, 1, 2, 3s out of it, and you see how his arms are just natural, right? That's the thing that we want to focus on here. We don't want to be here and snap and just go, beat the drum. We want to be able to run with my arms and have natural arms, right? You don't want to change up anything with your arms. You're running in, you create energy with your hips, and you're running out. That's how we create space. That's how we have a smooth break, right? So many guys drop and they chatter their feet, they run their hands, they beat the drum, and it takes them 6, 7 steps. They'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the top, and then they get out, and by that time the DB reacts. The DB works the same thing we do. He works cutting out time spent out of his back pedal to drive on the ball. So again, I got to make sure that I'm snapping, pivoting, hooking. That's the things that we can work on once we get comfortable with this thing. But here's the deal. If you're kind of a beginner at this, maybe you're used to beating the drum, maybe you're used to just kind of slowing way down into it, don't get caught up in steps. That's the mistake guys make. They're not ready for that. And what they do is they go out on the field and they're like, okay, Coach Grant said I got to get out in 3 steps. No. You misread what I'm saying. You got to focus on selling vertical and dropping your hips. That's what you got to focus on doing. Number one, you got to get comfortable with running full speed, using that trigger step. So what if you take 5, 6 steps right now? That's fine. It's better than beating the drum and slowing down, right? How we work, it's just we got to progress, right? This is how this thing progresses. You focus on doing that trigger step, then we can focus on cutting out steps, cutting out time, and then we focus on fine-tuning all the details, right? So that's what the main thing I want to focus on. So once you get that snap down, you want to focus on pivoting off that second step, hooking the third step, having natural arms and being able to run so we get back down this 45-degree angle right here. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time, and then we'll look at this final route. So he's here, snapping on that inside leg, 1, 2, 3, and accelerating off this break. All right, so this is one of the guys that I've been working with for about, I don't know, man. Ever since quarantine hit, he's been coming out to get some work in, and he's going to be going to St. John Bosco in California this year. And we've been working on this comeback curl for a long time, and it was the same thing, right? He was used to beating the drum, chattering the steps, right? And he put in a lot of work to work on that trigger step, and it progressed well for him, right? So we're going to talk about a couple of things that maybe he could have improved on here, but overall why this works and how you guys can use this. So we're going to watch this thing full speed. You see how he's here, keeps the same speed, snaps it off, and able to run out of this thing in 3 steps. But you see how he had a little bit of a drift, and if these hurdles weren't here to get his hips back down on that 45, he might have drifted a little bit too far upfield. That's simply because you see when he's here, and one little indicator that you guys can kind of see, he's pumping those arms, but you see it's very subtle. But right before he gets to the top here, he kind of stops those arms. He kind of stops that arm drive, right? You want to be able to keep that same arm drive because a good DB is going to be able to pick up on stuff like that, right? And when we work out, I'm so freaking critical of things like that. I wouldn't treat it like, oh, that's good enough for high school. You know what I mean? We want to be so dang critical of what we're trying to do. And so you see how he stops those arms just a hair, right? Just a little bit he stops those arms. We got to make sure that my arms stay driving. My legs keep the same stride. I don't get shattered. My feet don't kind of stop. His stride gets cut down a little bit because his arms slow down. And again, you guys probably wouldn't even be able to see that if we didn't slow it down. But again, on film, DBs are going to be able to slow it down. They're going to be able to pick up on tendencies, right? So we want to make everything look the same. And now when he goes here, the reason why he has a little bit of this drift, that's a great trigger step here. Great trigger step. He pivots, right? That's pretty good job. I think you see how he's leaning back just a hair in his stance, and that doesn't allow him to hook around and drive with his chest forward. If he gets his chest forward just a little bit more and has a little bit more of an aggressive aggressive pivot step, he doesn't drift out of there, because you see how it's kind of like he's sitting back like this, rather when we saw Judy, he had more of his weight going forward. And rather than turning your shoulder out of it, that's a mistake that guys make on their 45. They try to turn their inside or outside shoulder to turn. You want to go forward and be able to run out of it, and that's what causes that little drift. But overall, I know you guys can't see the improvements because you haven't been out there, but this is just so much improved from where he first started with me. But this is a great job. You just got to make sure we're going forward, fellas. When we snap down, I want to make sure I'm going forward, chin to my knee, chest goes down. Let's watch it again full speed here. So he's coming, snaps it off. Just make sure that we get my chest forward so I can drive out of the break. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you're a receiver and you want to improve your hands, you want a full 30-day catching program with specific exercises to improve your hands, check out that link in the description that says improve your hands in 30 days. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, leave those in the comments section. I'll make sure to get back to you as soon as possible. I'll see you guys next time.